Welcome everyone to the Jolly Roger. My name's Chef Brian, and today we are going to can beef stew. This week in my local grocery store, chuck roast was on sale, and the way meat prices are right now, it's time to take advantage of it, buy a bunch of it, and we're going to can it. That way it's shelf stable for like 10 years, but it's even better than Campbell's. So, what I got here, I got our jars. I got wide mouth because it's a lot easier to get your ingredients out. If you have normal size jars for the lids, that's fine. It's just you're gonna have to cut them up a little bit smaller than what I have here. I have some carrots cut up, some celery, some onion, some potatoes. I left the skin on, that way they hold a little bit better and as texture wise. And our chuck roast, I cut it up into about 1-inch cubes. We also have some beef bouillon cubes. We're gonna go ahead and put those in the containers. And for seasoning wise, I'm gonna use Cavender's and Italian herb. And then when we go to reheat this, we can adjust our salt flavors from there. So you don't have to worry about salt right now, but when you go to eat it, you'll need to add some. So I'm gonna start with the beef. I'm gonna do one and show you how we do this. And then I'll go ahead and get these done and then we can get them in the canner. So we're gonna start with the beef. And this is gonna be cross-contaminating because I have raw meat and I'm gonna be using the same hand for the vegetables, but don't worry, because whatever we don't use today, we're gonna use tomorrow, and we're doing the same thing because we bought a bunch. One thing about the meat though, this is chuck. You wanna cut off any major excess fat. And what I mean by that is this little piece right here. You don't want that. The more fat you have, the faster it can go rancid. So you wanna cut off as much, you can leave a little bit, but cut off the majority of it. So I got my meat in. We're gonna do potatoes next because this is a family of meat and potatoes people. We're just gonna throw in a layer. Got my carrots. I'm gonna go ahead and add my bouillon cube so it stays down below. Got celery. And we're gonna push it down a little bit. And then I have some onion that we diced up. And that, right there, looks good to me. We can add a couple more carrots if we choose, which I do. And we don't want to go above this 1-inch mark, which is this bottom ring. That's your 1-inch headspace. And we don't want to go above that. So next, what we have is our seasoning. We already have the bouillon cube in there. So I'm gonna take about half a tablespoon of this Cavender's. And we can always adjust flavoring after, so don't worry about that. And if it's not as seasoned as you like, you can do it when we eat it. And this is the cool thing about canning, is you save so much money doing it just because you buy things on sale and then, 6 months goes by, price goes up. So what I have here is just a damp cloth. What we're gonna do is wipe the rim to make sure we don't have any stickage. And then I'm gonna use my canning funnel. And then we're gonna fill this with water. I'll bring you back when we do that. I'm gonna go ahead and get these done. I'll see you in a minute. All right, everyone. We got the other 6 jars. I've already done the same method too. I didn't think you needed to see it 6 times in a row. So what I have here is the same jar that we started with, and I have my water. We're gonna go ahead and fill it to our 1-inch mark, which is the bottom ring of your jar. And that's right there. Set that off. We have our debubbling tool. So what we're gonna do is go around the side, and you'll see we're gonna get that air out. Your water is going to sink a little bit as we move things around. We want to get all that air out, or as much as possible, and flatten her back out. Yeah, we need just a little bit more water. Done with that. And that's your 1-inch headspace, which is this bottom rim. We're gonna take our cloth, and it's just wet, so it'll pick up any debris that is on the rim to prevent it from sealing correctly. Then we'll tighten our lid, and we're only going to do finger tight, and then we're done. I have 2 inches of water in my my canner. I need to actually remove some of that water. It's a little too high. But my canner, I have the All-American 921. They make some that has a, I think, what is it, Stanley? No, Presto. That was my other canner. It has a rubber seal on it. This one, what we do is we take some oil and we're gonna wipe this inner bevel, and that will help give us a good seal for our lid on our canner, and then we will turn it on and do the whole process with that. And I'll bring you back when we get there. All right, I have my oil. I'm using avocado. That's just whatever you have, grapeseed. You can use olive oil for this too. But I just dip my finger in, go around this bevel in the back, and go all the way around till we get a good coat, and then we can put on our lid. I got it oiled. I wanted to mention, on your pressure canners, there's usually an arrow or a notch that you're going to line up with the base, and that's going to determine where you set your lid down and turn it in to lock it down. So I'm going to do that now. I have the arrow here, and I have a notch right here, and that arrow lines up with that notch. Twist it in like that, and then we're going to do opposite toggles to toggle this down, and we're going to get these pretty tight. And for this beef stew, what we're using is the recipe for chunked meat on your National Food Preservation recipe. And what it has here is we're using quart jars because the time is different if you're using pints versus quarts, and we're using quarts. And we're using the raw pack method. We're going to do 90 minutes, and at my elevation, I'm using 10 pounds of pressure. The higher elevation you are, the more pounds of pressure you're going to use. The lower you are, if you're at sea level, it's going to be 5 pounds of pressure. But we're here, and I use 10. So we're going to turn this on high. I have a timer set for 10 minutes because once we start hearing this steam releasing out of the vent, that's when we're going to hit a 10-minute timer, and that's called our venting section. And once that timer hits 10 minutes, then I can put the weight on top of it and then do a whole 90 minutes after that. All right. As you can see, or here, we're venting. I have heat coming up. So we're going to let this go for 10 minutes. I'm going to go ahead and start my timer. Once that 10 minutes is over, I'm going to go ahead and put on the 10-pound weight that goes on top. And all right, my 10-minute timer just came up. So I have my weight, it's on 10, and I wear a glove for that just because that steam is extremely hot. Steam burns really bad, so you might want to think about a glove. Anyway, once this starts rattling, then we can turn the temperature down, and then we can start our 90 minutes. And after that, we're going to sit here for an hour and a half, listen to it, and then we'll pull them out when they're done. All right, so as you can see, we are jiggling. I'm going to turn my heat to a medium high-ish. My dial goes up to 10. I got it at 6. I'm going to go ahead and hit my timer for 90 minutes, and then we just wait. And then once our 90 minutes goes over, I turn the heat off. I put a towel down where I'm going to take the jars out, and we wait until the pressure drops completely. Don't do anything to it, just turn the heat off, and then we pull out our jars. All right, as you can see, we've got some more jars. These are the 7 that we did that y'all saw. I have 7 more that I need to pull out. I wanted to show you how to take this apart. So what we got, I got gloves on because this thing is ripping hot. We're going to remove our weight, and then we're going to counterclockwise these screws. When I say counterclockwise, I mean opposite toggles. And then this is going to have a lot of steam on it. It just came down. But we're going to turn and lift away. Let all that steam go out. And I'm going to set this right here. And we're going to grab our ball jar grabbers. Matter of fact, I'll stand on this side and you can see. You don't want to tilt these too far, but we're going to Put them on a towel so they can cool with the ambient air and not be affected. And these are boiling hot. I don't know if you can see the bubbles coming out of there. Well, we're going to put them on the towel and just leave them alone for 24 hours. After that 24 hours, they should be sealed. If they're not sealed, then what you can do is either that's the one you eat right away, or you can try and put a new seal on it and redo the entire canning process. But that's your options for that. Now, like I said, this is a great way to save money, especially when items go on sale. Beef prices, they're sky high right now, so anytime you can save money, it's great. And we have 7 plus 4, 18 quart jars. And what you do is you take your quart jar, we're going to take the rims off just like this. We're going to wash the outside to get that excess fat off, and then you're going to store it without the ring. And then that way you will make sure that you have a good seal. If one of these rings pop open and it's in your storage, automatically throw it away. Do not eat that, and you're good to go. We're going to open, well, when you do open one up, what you do is you put it on top of the stove in a pot and you heat it up, and then we do what's called a cornstarch slurry. And so you take cornstarch, a little bit of water, mix it up, and then it thickens the broth, and then it's actually a stew. So also make sure you label and date. I go by month and year. I have some that I've made that was back in 2020, and I've eaten it. It's perfectly fine. I still love it. It's great. And this is one of our go-to meals when we don't feel like cooking. So anyway, hope you learned something. Hope you like it. Like, share, comment, subscribe, all that, YouTube stuff. And we'll see you next week. Take care.